Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this is some more content in what I'm calling the new shooter series. New shooter not as in new to shooting, but new to using a precision optic for your shooting. Not necessarily one of these Arken Optics, but any precision optic. Now, this might be some information that helps you out. I've got kind of a trend going on in my comment section. I've been picking up on some of these, and that's where this is coming from. I'm going to try to answer some of those questions in a big lump by making this content. So if you are new to using a precision optic, this might just be something that helps you out. If you're kind of a veteran to use one of these, maybe it'll just be a reminder for you. I've got here an Arken Optics SH4J model optic. Now this is what I'm going to consider kind of my base model for a precision optic, not because of what it cost and not because of it being Arken. Well, it is Arken that I've got here, but more due to the variable adjustments and whatnot that come on this thing. This is going to be my precision optic for a base, and then I've got this little simple old, I shouldn't really say old, it's not that old, but very basic rudimentary optic, a scope here with very little adjustment on it that really a lot of us started out using and what some people still use, and these things really do work well. But going from this kind of an optic to this kind of an optic, there are definitely advantages to using these, and there's definitely some more responsibilities that come with using these. So that's what I'm going to talk about real quick. This will help out you new guys, and maybe just be that reminder if you are kind of a guy that you've been using both of these and you notice yeah, you're kind of familiar with what I'm talking about, chime in on the comment section and let me know maybe some tricks or tips or something that you use as well. So starting off, both of these optics, these both have one thing in common. They have a, so I can do this without dropping it here, they have an adjustable diopter on them, all right? What that does, the only thing this thing really does on the precision optic, this SH4 and EPL4, EP5, any of your higher end other brands, this diopter on a precision optic, its purpose is to adjust your focus on the reticle. That's it. Not really your target downrange, simply those crosshairs that dot whatever kind of reticle you got going on inside there. This is set to, or it's designed to let you set that and get that in focus. Now on a scope like this, without a side focus and without much else going on, this thing can kind of brighten up your picture, your target downrange, and help focus things a little bit. But we're not going to get into this a whole lot because this is a whole different conversation going back to these old scopes. So what I want to talk about is the one, really the kind of the thing that I like to keep in the back of my mind, the one pointer that's going to help people out. And where I'm getting with this is the new guys to using these precision optics are missing steps when it comes to taking a shot, and they're missing the shot. Not because of shooting error, but because they're not setting the optic up correctly. I like to call this using the clock method. Looking at the scope is mounted up on your platform, looking at the scope like it has the hands of a clock going around it, and starting with each of the possible settings and making sure that you've either set them up, adjusted them, or at least given them some attention at some point before you're pulling that trigger. So starting out like the hands of the clock, the first thing that I like to do is get this diopter set. The way you do that is you focus this on a plane, the sky, a plain target kind of downrange, the sky, a hill with some snow on it or sand, something that is not going to cause your eye to try to focus on a tree or a bird or a limb, a rock or something. You want something really just generic in the distance. You're going to look through your diopter, you're going to spin this thing around, and what I suggest, go both directions in extreme ways. Get it out of focus this way, bring it into focus, and then get it out of focus this way and work it right back to the middle, back and forth, finding that sweet spot. It's just like when you go to the eye doctor. Which one's better, A or B? A or B, C or D. When they're doing that, you're gonna get this reticle focus going back and forth and then really find that sweet spot. So that's number one. And when you get that set, you don't have to mess with that a whole lot unless you borrow this platform out to somebody or you get somebody else's rifle and you need to reset that up. Once you set that, I suggest taking a little paint marker, maybe a piece of tape, a Sharpie, and make a little mark on there. Make a little mark on there. And then you know where the spot is in case it gets moved, as well as if you end up putting some of these caps on here. If you put some protective lens covers on, you need to set this first and put those on, and you may turn it a little bit. So number one, you're gonna work around the clock. You get this thing set where you want it. We're not gonna talk about the illumination rope. We're gonna kind of come back to that. Next thing is going to be your side focus or your parallax. You need to know the distance that you're shooting at or ballpark. Look through your scope and you're going to start moving this thing around. Now, keep in mind, the numbers that come on some of the Arken Optics are merely reference points. I'm going to say that again. These numbers are reference points. They get you in the area, meaning if I spin this all the way to 300, I know that's not going to be anywhere near focus if the target is at 75 yards. But don't freak out if you're Arken Optic or any other optic and you're looking downrange at 300, but you really have this thing kind of between the 200 and the 300, because my eye is going to be a little bit different than your eye. So working around this, you're going to get your side focus all set up. Again, this is going to be really an entirely another piece of content teaching you how to do that. We're just talking about actually doing it. Diopter first, then get the side focus set up. If you don't know how to do that, I've got some content on it, or get on YouTube and find some, and maybe I'll make some as the winter progresses, but get that thing done. So one, down at the bottom of the clock, diopter, work your way around to the side focus. Then work your way to your elevation turret. So whatever that distance was, whatever your ballistic application is telling you, whatever you're using to know how far that shot is to get that thing set up, check your elevation. Then working around the clock, the last one is getting yourself to your windage. So know your windage. Is there any wind? Do you even have to dial in a solution? And now again, this is if you're using these turrets, not your reticle for holdovers, but by doing so and keeping this clock method kind of in the back of your mind, when you go to make that shot, especially the guys when you're hunting, you're all excited and that animal comes out and you pull up, let's get this thing, it's a little more realistic, right? You pull this thing up and you get it up and you go to squeeze off that shot, you need to make sure you have hit each of these things real quick. The side focus parallax has become a situation that I have got a lot of comments in social media. I'm seeing a lot of people asking questions because they're forgetting to set this up. Some cases they're just doing it wrong, they're not doing it right, and it's inaccurate. But a lot of times people forget to do that. They go to the range, let me spin this thing around. They go to the range, they zero the rifle at 100. They got this thing set up at 100, but they know, hey, at 250, I've got to put this thing at 1.5. They remember to set that. Oh, there's no wind today. They don't mess with that, but they forget to do the side focus, the parallax. And in doing that, when they take their platform up and they move their head around and their cheek placement is in just a little bit different spot, well, that reticle's not focused up exactly as tight as it should be and could be, and you can miss by a lot. I can share a comical situation of going out, doing some deer hunting, doing some doe harvesting. I had my 308 with me, and a buddy of mine. We do a lot of this kind of hunting together. He's probably watching this. And relatively close shots for me. I think we were 400 yards or so. And kind of gimme shots for harvesting these does. They don't even know we're there. We're laying down in a cultivated field and I'm missing shot after shot. I'm talking to him, I'm distracted. I didn't set up this side focus. I don't know how much I was missing them by, but I was missing them by a lot. So that will get you each time. So before you take that shot, remember this, the clock method, real quick in your head. Is that set, that set, that set, and that set. go around the clock real quick in your head. Now, if you need to learn a little bit about each of those settings, again, that's some different content, but I hope this helps you guys out, and I hope it answers questions for the new guys that you really got to make sure that you are responsible to head into each of these. And the illuminated reticle would fall in that same realm. If you plan to use that, you're going to go around the clock and make sure it's set. I do like these SH4s because there's an offsetting between each one, so you'd want to make sure you got it set. But with that, with this kind of scope, with the precision optic, you've got responsibilities that you got to do to make that shot versus the simplistic stuff. Pull it up and take the shot, but you don't get that precision that you get with this for the most part with the little guy. So hey, thanks for checking in. Let me know in the comments section. Let me know some comical situations. Have you kind of screwed up, missed the target, missed that animal, and you really just overlooked something like setting up the side focus or putting this thing back to your zero? You know, I've got this thing spun. I'm not mounted up on anything, but you spun this thing for a shot. Maybe you're in a competition. Maybe you're out hunting and you forgot to put it back to your zero. You hear about people doing that. Or you don't have the zero stop set, so you don't know how many times you got to go around to actually get to zero. Let me know in the comments section, do you have any situations that have popped up because you simply didn't use the clock method in a quick mental reminder to go around each of these features on your precision optic? Thanks for checking in. Get on out there, use the clock method, and keep on shooting.